Tractor Power, next on TNN Sports Sunday.
The big beef of the racing world descends upon the Missouri State Fairgrounds. And the meaty monsters have a sweet tooth for speed, as well as an appetite for destruction. Coming up next, we'll see who enjoys the taste of victory. This is Trucks and Tractor Power, featuring the superstars of the four-wheel and off-road Jamboree Nationals Monster Truck Challenge. Welcome to Trucks and Tractor Power on the National Network. Today we're at the Missouri State Fairgrounds in Sedalia for the four-wheel and off-road Jamboree Midwest Nationals. Hi everybody, I'm Gary Lee, and we are just underway, but we have a stoppage in the action. We are surrounded by controversy. So with that story, to clear up the situation, let's go to the pit area in Armstrong, and I'll go back to the broadcast booth.
Gary, we've had a little controversy down here on the track, and I'm going to try to straighten it out for you. Bigfoot made a by run. He ran out of bounds, okay? He did not hit the second set of cars at all. Rules say when you run out of bounds, you're disqualified. In this sport, when you're disqualified, you do not come back. You go on the trailer. This was in the first round. Bigfoot, the fastest truck of the day, got that by run for being the fastest. But he's not going to be able to come back because the drivers got with George Carpenter, and they had a meeting to decide a rule. There was not a rule in this particular situation. This is the way the rule works. By run or not, if you run out of bounds, you're disqualified. You don't come back. What I'm telling you, Bigfoot's not going to be back in the race today. Let's go back to the race in action right now. They're coming to life.
And there's a look at Andy Brass from fast qualifier to a disqualified spectator. So he'll be watching the action this afternoon. Round one pairings. There's the by-run disqualification for Bigfoot, King Crunch, and Wayne Smozanik out of Jupiter, Florida in Tropical Thunder. Also in round one, we have the new Dodge of Barefoot, the new Ford of No Problem. Gary Porter's Carolina Crusher will take on the Taurus truck out of Illinois. Nightmare with a brand new driver against Black Stallion. And Snakebite will take on Just Showing Off. Just Showing Off making his first appearance in this series. And there is a look at the brand new color scheme for the Auto Value King Crunch of Scott Stevens out of Texas.
Well, Gary, we're not even one race into this thing, and the controversy is you could literally cut it with a knife. Meanwhile, these guys on the starting line, all they want to do is race their truck. Scott Stevens comes back with a new paint job, trying to carry the colors for his sponsor. He's going to be going up against Wayne Smozanik. Wayne's picked up a new sponsor this year, like I say. Everything's new. Stevens comes out with the same old truck. He just put a new dress on this girl. He says he's going to take it to the prom. Meanwhile, Smozanik out of Florida. He wants to be a player this year, but the bottom line is they just want to race.
And race they are right now. Bit of a nosedive there for Wayne Smozanik. The victory goes to the King Crunch Auto Value truck of Scott Stevens.
Gary, it's kind of interesting. Smozanik had trouble. The same thing happened to him that happened to Andy Brass that caused all this controversy. First jump he clears. Now watch what happens here. For some reason, doesn't even get near the second jump. Meanwhile, Stevens doing his thing good on the far side. He'll go to that next round.
Coming up next, there's Gary Porter in the Carolina Crusher. And notice the railroad ties, Army. They're actually testing to make sure these vehicles are in four-wheel drive. Harkening back to the controversy we had last week with Taurus.
Yeah, earlier in the year, there was a whole lot of controversy over whether or not the trucks must be in four-wheel drive. The decision was made, yes. Then you got a problem. How do you make sure they're in four-wheel drive? Very simple. You make them drive over an obstacle like the railroad ties. If one wheel's not pulling, it'll show real quick. So Taurus would really like to make a shot, but the man in front of him had trouble in this lane. That's Eldon Depew. Will that affect his driving concentration? We got to wait and see, Gary.
The youngster from Granite City, Illinois, just across the river from St. Louis in the near lane in Taurus. The far lane from Carolina, the Carolina Crusher and Gary Porter.
Both big Chevrolet monster truck with a Snoopy nose of Eldon Depew. Flat drilled the Crusher, but the Crusher pulled him back on the other end. Depew's in trouble.
Oh, he high sides it, brings it back down. Eldon Depew had the whole shot, but out of nowhere comes Gary Porter, and the Crusher takes it. Boy, let's look again, Army.
This kid drilled Porter on the starting line, but see how close Porter stayed to the ground? He settles down, all four wheels biting. Now he launches good. Meanwhile, Depew hits kind of cockeyed, and that did a lot of damage to that truck.
That's what you're in that configuration. Stay on the throttle. The first thing a driver wants to do is back out of it. That's the wrong thing to do.
Exactly. You got to throttle up, plant the horsepower, try to get it settled back down.
So the victory in round one goes to the driver of the Carolina Crusher. That is Gary Porter. He's with Army.
Well, Gary, Gary Porter just put one of the big guys on the trailer down here. Literally tore it up trying to beat you. Wasn't able to do it.
Yeah, I noticed he got me off the line a little bit, and, I thought right then, maybe I had lost the race, but I tried to stay with it. The truck settled down good between the two sets of cars, and, and it seemed like the truck just went straight for me.
Round 1 action will continue with the likes of Nightmare, Black Stallion, Snakebite, and Just Showing Off. Stay with us. Welcome back to the Missouri State Fairgrounds, where Ford Trucks present the Penda 4-Wheel and Off-Road Jamboree Midwest Nationals, a part of the B.F. Goodrich Performance Series. Gary Lee along with Army Armstrong as action continues in round 1. A brand new driver in Nightmare out of Fort Wayne, Indiana. This is Kirk Dabney.
Well, Gary, he is new to this truck, but he is not new to the sport of monster racing. He's been around about 10 years. However, on the other side of the slate, this kid comes out in a Black Stallion. He's a new kid on the block. Barter's out of Maryland, thinks that he can make a name for himself in this sport, and a lot of people are saying, hey, keep an eye on this kid. He's an up-and-comer.
Black Stallion, the near lane. Nightmare, the far lane. This is still round 1 here in Sedalia, Missouri, in the infield at the big dirt track at the Missouri State Fairgrounds. It's all Dabney as he takes the victory in Nightmare.
Gary, I'm noticing something, though. And every run we've had, these guys are having trouble hitting that second set of cars square. Okay, keep an eye on the far lane as the replay comes up. Meanwhile, the kid in the Black Stallion, he's doing good for himself. He's settling down, getting that time in the seat. But you can't beat experience. That's exactly what the truck in the far lane had. And he did land a little bit cockeyed, didn't he?